Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Talking Rugby Union video from myself and Chris. We're in the TRU offices today. Of course, you can probably tell. I mean, we've done stuff on social before for the in the office, like this kind of thing. And we're going to run through kind of what we thought of the England versus Wales game yesterday. Of course, the England Rugby World Cup squad is announced at 1 p.m. today, and we're going to do a podcast and a live Twitter video. We're going to combine them, so we actually kind of get more bang for our buck. Really, I think is the best way to put it. But yeah, of course, we're going to go through the England versus Wales game yesterday. England won 33 points to 19.
Yeah.
Very impressive performance by England, considering all the injury problems going into it. Chris, you, like myself, unfortunately saw the highlights. What did you kind of make from it, from what you saw?
I think when we were at Penny Hill Park last week, Joe, we were talking about what sort of England team Eddie Jones will name. It was more the experimental versus the experienced Wales side, and I think Nick Keefe put it perfectly during the first half on Twitter. He said these players are possibly playing to their limits because they know there's World Cup places on the line this afternoon, and I thought England came out and expressed themselves really, really well to score so early and sort of put Wales immediately on the back foot. I don't think Wales really expected it, and it was really positive for England, certainly in that first half, and unfortunately, as you said, Joe, the only disappointment for them was the injury to Ben Curry and a few other knocks here and there. But I think from an England fan perspective and Eddie Jones' perspective, he's probably waking up this morning thinking that was a perfect start to the World Cup preparations.
And Wales, of course, Six Nations champions, they could have gone number one in the world if they'd beaten England or drew. They looked fatigued.
Well, you said it before when we were getting the training that you thought it was to do with the altitude they've been training at. I think they were, personally, I think they were blown away by the way England started. I think Warren Gatland is the quote that he used before the start of the Six Nations or during the Six Nations, that Wales had forgotten to lose, and I don't know whether they came into the game because they named a strong team and because they were number one in the world going into the game, but it wasn't cemented, that they might come in with a little bit of complacency. But yeah, they did look tired. They did look tired, judging by the highlights. So I expect them to come out firing in Cardiff. I think they'll probably be like, we're not going to let England have the bragging rights on our home ground. So I think if yesterday's game was going to be intriguing, I think it makes Saturday's game even more interesting.
Yeah, and one player, I mean, it was the whole back row for Wales really didn't have much of an impact, but one player in particular didn't seem to step up to the shoes of Talupe Faletau. Ross Moriarty didn't have that impressive a game.
There was a lot of talk, I think, in the last week leading up to it could be Ross Moriarty to step up, and I know it's early days, and you'll get people saying, well, Wales are now just trying to see what the best combination and who the best fit is to replace Faletau. But yeah, I think England's back row were excellent. Mentioning before, Ben Curry played 28 minutes and looked outstanding, looked absolutely brilliant. We're hoping his injury isn't going to be too serious. We haven't heard any news of that yet, but yeah, I think England got the upper hand in the back row, and we know Moriarty's a good player. And he will think again, like the Wales squad, they can come back on Saturday and put in a better performance.
Yeah, of course. Another place that England looked particularly good was the halfback pairing, Willie Hines and George Ford, actually working really well together. Of course, there was probably the odd moment where things didn't seem as conducive as possible, but Willie Hines, on his debut, aged 33, looked like an international player. Yeah,
again, the talk last week at Penny Hill Park was these potential two scrum halves that England are going to take to the World Cup. But Willie Hines, I thought, stepped up really, really well. He's got a lot of Premiership experience. He knows about the sort of the big occasions, and I thought he used that to his advantage. I think he came off the 50 minutes or something, the 55 minutes, but he'll come away with that thinking, job well done, and if this was the last rehearsal for him to try and get ahead of Spencer or into that England squad, I thought he did well. And George Ford, assured performance for him, getting the captain's armband. Is 5.5 years ago he's making his debut against Wales at Twickenham. He was part of that 2015 side that were embarrassed at Twickenham 4 years ago in the World Cup, and I thought he played really, really well, steps up to mark, and we know he'll probably be on the plane to Japan anyway, but I thought he played exceptionally well and certainly put a marker down for himself.
Yeah, George Ford always one of them players to me that plays better with more pressure on him.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that, really. We expect Farrell will play 10. When that was expected. We've seen a couple of teams that he might, because of Ford's performance, he might drop into the centres now, Farrell, but he's known probably for a while, probably since Farrell came into that first game against Ireland in the Six Nations at 10, that he may have to take a back seat, so he's done his chances no harm either, I don't think.
But it's kind of odd because England played that formation like they did for the first 2 Six Nations wins they had, where they had basically 2 10s playing on the field forward to Piers Francis.
Yeah.
So obviously Francis did pick up an injury in that game, we think. He definitely took a knock.
Yeah.
It had a feel of maybe they are going back to that formation, but it depends because Francis is seen more of an inside centre than a 10. But England, if they do that, they have to take 3 fly halves.
Yeah, they'll have to. They'll have to.
Which does bring into question again, why is Danny Cipriani involved?
He's always going to be talked about. And would it surprise us if he was named later on this afternoon?
Yes.
Yes, yes, he would. He's always talked about Cipriani, but just on sort of that sort of centre fly-half combination, I think there was an image of Henry Slade, didn't he have some sort of leg brace on, or was
Sam Underhill had a leg brace.
Yeah.
Slade might have done as well, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, he looked like he had taken a knock or something, so that might be something he's now looking at, but you know, you saw the impact Manu Tuilagi can have. He should be starting for England in the World Cup, and it's just a question of who would be partnering. Obviously Henry Slade's been, I think, one of England's most consistent performances, so we'd love to see him partner him and maybe foul at 10, but maybe Eddie Jones is thinking if there is a knock to Slade, let's see if he can revert back to what he started out as England coach with.
Where do you play Manu? Do you play Manu inside centre or outside centre? Because you look at those outside centre options, Joe Marchant, Jonathan Joseph, Manu Tuilagi as well, and then of course you could even put Elliot Daly in the mix.
Yeah, I think Joseph played well as well yesterday, didn't he?
He was very good.
Yeah, he was very good as well, and this is the thing, you know, England is so strong in that sort of midfield area, so I'd love to see Manu outside. I think he's just, the impact he has is just incredible. That when he made that run yesterday, big four, just ran into 4 Wales players, came out the other side of the ball. His impact is unbelievable for England, and we saw that against Ireland in the opening game of the Six Nations. He was absolutely sensational. I think he has to play, fingers crossed he doesn't get injured, because that's something that's plagued him, especially under Eddie Jones. Yeah. So I'd say him has to be one of the first names in the team sheet for the backs, definitely.
Yeah, moving even further back, we've got 2 wingers that played, Anthony Watson and Joe Thompson. Both had injuries this year. This is Anthony Watson's first time in the England squad for 17 months since he blew out his Achilles in Italy. I remember that game.
Yeah.
Played fine. Not too much to write about there. Joe Thompson played fine. The real one is in that back 3 is Elliot Daly, who probably had his best performance at fullback for England. Yeah,
you said that, didn't you, Joe? He was very well-rounded performance. I thought that drop goal was absolute football skills. I think it was just like he was leaning back on the half volley. It was a brilliant strike from him, and that's something he really adds to this England team. We talk about his versatility in terms of he can play centre, he can play wing, he can play full-back, but that kicking game is something that could be a real weapon for England, and he showed yesterday he was brilliant. I think I agree with Joe, during the autumn internationals there was a bit of question marks whether Daly could really cut it at full-back or why he was leaving Mike Brown out instead of him, but yesterday to start the warm-up games with that sort of performance, and I know he's said for quite a while that he wants to play in the centres, and I can get that totally, but yesterday he had a really assured game for England, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him continue at 15 going forward.
And I know I said this to you on the way here, because we ended up meeting up for a nice coffee, I think.
Yeah, just a quick stop off at Preston, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so.
Of course. But I said this on the way here, I said Elliot Daly wouldn't have been allowed to play like he did on Sunday if Owen Farrell was in the team, because Elliot Daly had a lot more opportunities to kick from hand, which is probably more his game in comparison to Mike Brown.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going back to my point there, Joe. I think that's his major weapon. I mean, it's his boot, and if England can use that to their advantage, that would be something that I don't think many other teams in the world will be able to deal with, because they don't have that sort of player with that massive boot on him, and I think Daly could be one of England's key players in this World Cup, and it showed yesterday with his performance that he's more than ready to take up the challenge.
And now Wales, we're going to mention 2 players who came off injured.
Yeah.
One after the game, and obviously one went off injured during the game, came back out onto the side on crutches. Gareth Hampton looks like he could miss out on selection, as does Liam Williams of Saracens. How horrific for those 2 players. And when you think about 2015, Rhys Webb, injured, of course, scrum half, not fly half, and Lee Halfpenny, also injured. Shades of 2015.
With Anscombe, I think Warren Gatland's probably thinking he could be my first choice 10. As much as, Dan Biggar's been excellent, he was brilliant in the 2015 World Cup, he's been brilliant for Wales over the last 4 years or so. I think he's just trying to get his fitness back after his injury earlier in the year, but that's a big blow. I think Wales are worried about Anscombe now, and they will be having everything crossed for him to be to fit and available. And if he, hopefully the injury for him isn't as long term as probably first feared. And I think Biggar will be hoping he would get the chance again to show what he can prove. And Liam Williams, we talk about Elliot Daly and dealing with the high ball. Liam Williams is probably the best in the world at doing that, or one of the best in the world at doing that. Yeah. So, and he had a brilliant season at Saracens, didn't he? And he's just, that's again in the Six Nations, he's brilliant. So missing Anscombe and Williams is massive for Wales, I think. Even though we talk about they've got great strength and depth at the moment, they were on a brilliant run of 14 games unbeaten. I can't put a number on how many players they used during that time. But to lose Anscombe and Williams will be a major blow for them. Yeah,
now on to Ireland versus Italy the day before. I was unfortunate enough to watch that.
I heard it wasn't the best.
It was interesting because you saw some of Ireland's kind of fringe players step up. Andrew Conway was fantastic on the wing, got man of the match. But one player that really stood out to me was Andrew Porter.
Yeah.
The prop.
Mm-hmm.
Played tight head and loose head international against Italy.
Yeah, that won't lose chances anyhow, will it?
No, it's just the thing is with going into World Cups with line tools, you need that versatility, but it's not always the props that you get that versatility.
No.
So the thing is now what Joe Schmidt can do, he can take one less prop and then also probably take one of those locks that's so versatile, like Ian Henderson, Tag Byrne, who can both play 6 and lock.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary because the thing is as well, you could even forgive Joe Schmidt for taking someone like Rhys Ruddock, who's a leader as well as a very good player.
Yeah.
He's got the worst decisions to make, more than Eddie.
More selection headache, you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because Sunday, they all put their hands up. No one really. I mean, the thing is, you can even make the case for Mike Haley, who can play 2 positions.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Jordan Lama's going. Dave Kearney had a good game. I'm trying to think who else, because it was just such a good. It was a good performance from them overall. I mean, it was obviously just a bit of a bitter game because you could tell both teams hadn't played for 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 months for some of them. Trying to think of that forward pack. Jack McGrath, who's obviously going to Ulster next season. He was okay. There was nothing wrong with his performance.
Mm.
And then the hookers, Niall Scannell came on in the first half for Rob Herring. That probably means that Herring's probably not going to get selected, so maybe that's a decision already made. I don't know if it was an injury, but it didn't seem like an injury. It was just a very good performance. Chris Farrell really impressed me, the Munsterman.
What did Italy have to offer? Were they
were blighted by injury before the game had even begun. I can't remember the centre's name, but he basically couldn't carry on. One of the wings was moved inside to the centre. Ben Venuti was moved to 12, playing with Cannon, which obviously they hadn't tested out through the week. Minozzi was forced to start. This is Minozzi who hasn't played in the best part of the year. So he came off at half time anyway.
That's true.
Seb Negri played in 26 shirt, so I guess that means that he was out. He was like the 25th man.
I didn't see his name in the squad when it was announced last week,
so that's not great.
No.
Maxime Mbanda had to come off with a head injury. He was knocked out. So that maybe, I don't know. The number 8, Jimmy Tuivasa, played very well actually. If they're looking for another number 8 to stand up with Parise maybe in one of those games, probably the Namibian, maybe the Canada one.
Yeah.
If they're looking for a number 8 to step in for those games, they definitely got one. He's a big 5'11" man.
It sounds like they probably didn't learn as much as they wanted to from that game.
No, but the thing is, we talk about Ireland and Italy, and they have the fortune of not selecting their teams for at least another week. And you look at England, who obviously had so much riding on this game yesterday. We don't even know what the squad's going to look like today. We're fairly convinced there's going to be asterisks next to a lot of the players' names. We just don't know what's going to happen.
It's funny, back to the point about Anscombe and Williams. Gatland said in his post-match press yesterday, he was like, I'm glad I'm not picking my team tomorrow. So it just shows that these teams do need to. For me, in any other sport, it'd be crazy to pick a team and you're 31 squad with 3 warm-up games still to go. I think maybe 2. I think after this weekend, possibly, because it's, you're getting to that just under a month or a month's time before the World Cup starts. I just think Eddie Jones, some of these players he's not been able to see represent England enough, I don't think personally, to be able to make a decision one day after the game, but who am I to argue?
Well, that's the thing, he's said that he's not happy with the amount of experience he's got in his squad. He wasn't expecting for Tom Curry to be a standout player.
No.
He wasn't expecting Mark Wilson to be a standout player. Different ages but similar kind of caps. Sam Underhill, he's very important to the team as an out-and-out open side. It's ridiculous. Henry Slade's only started starting matches in the last year.
Yeah, so maybe with that bit of both in Italy, you will see more of their team slowly form over the next couple of weeks or so. Whereas with England, it's literally now nobody knows what's going to happen in the next. What time are we on now? Next an hour and 45 minutes or so. So it's going to be fascinating to see. No doubt there'll be an absolute fallout over Twitter. Over it, there'll be a Twitter surge between probably 1 PM and 4 PM today. It's just going to be crazy. But yeah, on that Italy-Ireland game, I think they're probably going to have a lot more to learn over the next week or so before they decide. Well, I'm not sure when their squad announcements are, but before their squads are announced for the World Cup.
No, I mean, we'll definitely know before the game, the last game, which is at the start of September. We'll definitely know the teams by then. And we'll be announcing more stuff about the Rugby World Cup coverage in the next few weeks. I'm hoping to get some nice graphics sorted out. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, more to come on Talking Rugby Union as ever when it comes to the Rugby World Cup. Myself and Chris are going to be doing a live podcast. So we're going to be recording the podcast whilst live on Periscope, I think is the idea.
Yeah.
On Twitter. And yeah, it's going to be a fun little day for me and Chris. I've got to do a bit of work in the meantime, obviously.
Yeah, it's not just sitting here and chatting about rugby. Unfortunately.
Well, some of it.
Some of it is,
good chunk of it is.
That's
why we're here.
But yeah, Joe's right, just keep tuned to us this afternoon. It's going to be from 1 o'clock onwards. It's going to be carnage in terms of this England squad. Expect many surprises from Eddie Jones. He's probably still drinking the wine, thinking about it.
Talking to his dog.
So stay tuned to TRU across all our platforms this afternoon.
Yeah, so like, comment, subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Still don't know what it is.
Yeah, we're still not sure what it is. Maybe we'll learn by next week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we hope people are enjoying this content that we're bringing you, and I'm sure there'll be another video next 2 weeks.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah, we're very confident of this, as you can tell. C_Heal on Twitter and Instagram. Joe Harvey 34 on Twitter and Instagram. And Facebook now.
On Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Facebook thing there. Yeah. Thank you for watching.